Okay. Seconds. I have to set up my environment. Hey, can you hear me? So we're gonna work out how to do steppers. I'm using a 12-volt power supply right now. Got it hooked up, not plugged in. I'm gonna move this over to where it needs to be for direct power, I hope. Yep. And I'm going to go over to VS Code in a second. So let's see. I know we got two people in here right now. Is one of them person I've been chatting with? I hope so. Okay. So what we're gonna try and figure out is how to hook up and run three motors. So I'm gonna have to grab three motors real quick. So we're doing this for the Z, the first one here. Then I'm gonna have to grab two more. So give me a second to read from. Now this one I'm not sure how well it's gonna work because the cord's really long on it. So we'll see what happens. So I'm going to plug it into E1. Might be a little messy. Grab one last one. And then E2. These are all going to be UART, so I have to pop off these connectors. That one doesn't actually matter, but put them on this one. Okay, got them prepped. Jumper here for UART. For those that don't know what I'm doing right now, I'm testing to see if we can do three steppers in the Z-axis. So I'm prepping UART and I'm putting back other ones I removed here. Just so I don't lose them. There we go. And then I need three of the MC 2209s. Give me a second to find those. This is for multiple Z's if I haven't already said it once. That's not going to work. Well, so I'm putting it down like I normally do. Pins. I got one more here that I got to install over here. I'm gonna put a on it. Go. I'll check on the chat in 2 seconds. Okay. Don't know if everybody else can see this chat, or they don't expect me on at this hour, so. So now that I got those 3 things set up, what I'm gonna do is pop out the USB and find the connector right over here. Place it in here and then into the computer. And then I'm gonna go over to VS Code. So in VS Code, we're gonna, let me make this so it's easier to view. I'll open it up like normal. Downloads, Marlin. Here. I'm modifying my recording setup, so I don't know how the sound is. I'm going to go over to configuration.h in just a second. I just have to grab the actual configuration out of boards.h. R minus underscore V. Copy that. Down, go to configuration.h on motherboard. Here, port -1. And let's steppers. So A49A8. Go down here, we're working with the Z axis. So I'm gonna guess at my configuration here. So B1, 2, 3, PMC 09. Go down here, change this to 200. Then I'm going to go over to advanced configuration for the moment. Search on 800. Find the Z axis. Change that to 750 for now. Second one is 750. Third one is 750. And then I have to search on number of. Let me look it up. Let's see. MZ stepper drivers. So 3. Find number of Z stepper drivers is 3. Number of Z drivers are all just additional. I'm going to search on PMC debug. Move the comment here, and I'm going to search for the second one. Rationale behind this is to find out if there's an issue. And we'll do sensorless homing in a minute, because there's nothing to home. Good there. We're all set. So now I'm going to change my configuration for .pio folder, which I'm not seeing. Awesome. I can do it over here. Well, I may have damaged this file, so give me a second to fix it. Over again. Close. editor. Save. Open it real quick here. Downloads. Keep this. Still opens. Probably these. Gonna unzip. Okay, it looks like we got a couple people in there right now. I'm trying to sort out an issue with multiple steppers for the Z-axis. Essentially, all we're doing right now is moving the Z-axis. See what's going on. So I'm gonna actually these in place for the moment, I guess. Don't really matter. Let me go back in and see if this is good now. Download. Open. Got my platform IO. I'll go back to Marlin. First. Boards.h. On GTR underscore V. Copy. Sorry, I'm doing this a little bit faster than normal. Some people actually like it when I do this, so. On the motherboard, pasting. This to -1. Searching on 4988. Moving the comment for Z. Z2. Z3. Copying the TMC 2209. Pasting. One down here, and I'm going to change this to 400. Doesn't really matter at the moment. Go ahead, advanced configuration, search on 800. Head 750. 750. 750. We'll search on TMC debug. Comments for this one so we can use the debugging on the second one. I think we're good there as long as I didn't miss a step. I'm going to search on GTR in here. Grab the default environment up. Paste it in. And then I'm going to clean and then build. And thanks. So, motherboard. Yep, that's the error. We'll rebuild. But I don't type very fast. Tutorials, I try and keep myself slow. So after this builds, we'll copy it over. Got that drive. Okay. Let me move some of this stuff out of the way. People haven't noticed, I'm trying to work on getting the sound better. So I've just designed a device to hold it in a place that's up above. So hopefully the sound is. I'm going to go over to .pio. Going to reveal and explore. I'll open that file, the build file, GTR file. I find the firmware.bin and I'm going to send it. Obviously you can't see what I'm doing. Sorry about that. When it opens on the other screen, sometimes I don't realize. So I was in .pio. I went to build GTR. Right click, send to the drive. Check the drive, got it. Hold the drive. Go back to the desktop and install it here. Then I gotta plug it in. So I gotta find the plug. There's a USB power. I gotta search for the cord here. I'm gonna plug this in. It's flashing. Okay, go over to the prowler face for a second. Inside prowler face, we don't know what port it is, but I'm guessing it's defaulting to port right now, so I'm gonna hit enter. Access denied because I have Cura open again. Try this again. And now it's online, so I'm gonna do M122. Says something about Z being okay, but not the other one. So that might be okay. We'll find out in a second. So I'm going to try and move the steppers. Now none of them move. That's awesome. So I'm going to power down the system. Make sure that I'm using the right power supply, which I am. So something is wrong. Everything's plugged in. Configuration issue with Z-axis. So go back to the Z-axis here and see what we figure out. Oh, I forgot to set it in. That would do. So that is num something. There it is. Num Z stepper drivers. Rebuild it and reload it. Sorry, I didn't have you on the screen, but I'll show you what I was doing. I forgot to set the number when I opened it back up. Might not be the issue, but that's a starting point. So let me put this on the desktop so you built. Go back to that folder. I open. Send it over. Check the D drive, got it. Pop the drive. Okay, I don't know if you can see me. If not, hit refresh. Or you're gonna have to look for it on YouTube popping up again. On the chat here. So let me know if you can hear me. I know I'm back online, but might be a delay for me moving my hand in the screen. Yeah, it's back up. Okay. So let me put the drive back in. Let me make sure that you can see what I'm seeing. Okay. Drop that in. Drop that in. Drop this in. Let it flash for a second. Then I'm going to go over to fronter face. That fronter face, I'll reconnect. Check to see the steppers. Now I can see the steppers. That's good. I got a bad response on the third one, saying Z. Let's see if we can fix that. Now they're not moving at the moment, so I'm going to connect and power down. And I'm going to double check my stepper. Might be that I specified the wrong one. So let's go see what it says in VS Code. Of course, now VS Code's acting up. Okay, hang on a second. Fix VS Code. What happens when I close and restart? Everything goes sideways. So I'm gonna close VS Code for a second and then reopen it. If I can see now. Interesting. Do it this way. Okay. So back to my train of thought. Click on the steppers. So we'll search on A4988. What I have set here is called Z2. Z3 is the third one. So I'm going to try a different stepper. And I'm going to put that in the bad pile for now, I guess. So I'm dropping in a brand new stepper right here. Works. Okay. Going to re-energize the system power. Then I'm going to go back into pronter face. Inside pronter face, I'm going to connect again to the M122. Saying bad response again. Something off on my board, possibly. So let me disconnect, power it down, see if I can make the problem move. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try an experiment where I take this driver out and I move this driver a position over. Check it. So we're just swapping positions to see if the problem moves. Because two bad steppers in a row doesn't make sense. Then we're going to re-energize the system. Plug it back in. And go over to pronter face again and see if it changes. In theory, if it's a bad stepper, it'll move. Otherwise, it might be a bad issue on the board. So on my board, I'm getting a bad response. It means that possibly an issue with the board. So I'm going to stop that. And I'm going to go over to desktop again. Unplug it. And see if there's anything else that's obvious. So I'm going to pull the jumper. I'm going to put a new jumper in. Hopefully correctly. Good times. You know why I pre-record my videos now? Don't get to see this happen all the time. Pop this out. Now the other issue might be that it's the actual motor. I'm going to reverse these as well to see if the problem moves. If this doesn't work, then I think it might be that I set something wrong. I'll double check again, see if it's okay. Looks fine, so powering it back up. Go back to Prowler face. I'll bring the camera back online. Whenever I go past 30 minutes, the camera goes out. So I have a fixed problem, but the resolution drops. Okay, now everything's okay. That's super weird. So it's either the jumper or the position. Try moving. Well, they don't want to move now. So I'm going to power down the system for a second and we'll figure out the next problem. So the next issue is configuration. So I've done something wrong in the configuration that I need to figure out. So let me bring that up so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so inside here, got 3 steppers. Down here, set to 400. So let's check inverting. Shouldn't be an issue. That looks fine. Go into configuration advanced. See what I set. Maybe I set the wrong thing. Of Z steppers. Don't have multiple end stops, so that's not an issue. Go back to 100. So 750, 750, 750. On the right ones, working. What else we could? The moment I don't know, but I've been able to make this work in the past. So what I'm going to do is search on again so I can see if I can bring this up. I'm going to change it to 2 and pull a stepper. Just see if there's an issue there. Change this over to 2. I'll rebuild it. And while that's rebuilding, I'll pull the other stepper. I want to see what's going on, if it's related to this jumper or not, or this stepper. Pull this out of the system. And then we'll try this again. So let me pop out the drive while I'm here. Pop it in. The .pio. Build. GTR. Click Reveal and Explorer. Down in the folder, grab it. Drive, it's got it. Pop the D drive. Back to the workbench. Pop it back in, add the USB, power it back up. Then we're going to go over to front face for a second. And connect. M122 goes to drivers. Let's try moving. Nothing wants to move. Let's go back, just do the Z driver then. Disconnect. Obviously I'm doing something incorrect. I'll check on the chat, maybe people see what I'm doing. It may, but we can try that in a second. Normally I think E1 or E0 is reserved, but I could be wrong. It might be that it pushes them over. But let me see if I can get the Z driver stepping first by itself, and then we'll go back and sort it out. So I'm going to go back into VS Code for a second. Right here, I'm going to change this value to 1. We're not using the other steppers. See what happens. I'll recompile. I'll de-energize the board while I'm letting it compile. So I'm unplugging it. Pulling the USB. Pulling the drive. Popping the drive in. Folder.pio. Oh, you know why it's not working? I'm such a fool. I'm moving the x-axis. That's why it's not working for me. Let me change this again. I'll wake up in a minute. Sorry, it's late in the day here. Rebuild it. Sorry, it took me a second to realize that I'm doing something wrong. I'm going to plug back in the other stepper. So there's going to be 3 steppers. I think we're going to skip the other ones for a second, but let's see what happens. Okay, let me go over and this over. Time matches, so I'm going to pull the drive. Did I set that to 3? Yes, I did. Okay. Pop that back in. I'll show you what I'm doing. So I've already put in the drive. Power it back up. I go over to prowler face. Connect. Hopefully. Doesn't want to connect. Just crashed. So I'm going to move back to the desktop while I reload it. Closes, that is. I have to kill it in the there it goes. Okay, now I can bring it back up hopefully. Act. Oh wow, I've got some other issue now. Having an issue with my COM ports apparently. Give me a second here to see if I can clear it. Held by anything. Connect it for a second. Reconnect it. Bring back up pronter face. Try connecting again on the correct COM port. Something else is. There we go. So let me try a different COM port. I gotta find out which one it is real quick here. Something's telling me I need to reboot my computer one of these days. Still COM port 14. Here it goes. Now let's try and move it. Okay, it does work, but some of them need to be inverted possibly. I'm moving real slow. So besides the technical issues I was having, so we got some that are moving clockwise, one that's moving counterclockwise, and that's the regular Z. So we can fix that real quick. So if I go over to the workbench, or not the workbench, excuse me, VS Code. Of course I can't see it because my computer's getting all wonky. But this way. Fix that problem. Go to invert. Might have to search a couple times for this. Change this through. I'm gonna rebuild this, power down the system while that's going on. Pop the drive, pop it in here, plug it in a different port, and any second it will be ready to load. Let's try this again. So check Deal and Explorer, file over, check the drive, good, pop it out, back to the desktop, and I'll move this in frame because obviously couldn't see it. But this one was going counterclockwise, and I think these were going clockwise if I remember correctly. So I'm going to plug that back in. Then I'm going to go over to pronter face. Hopefully be able to connect. Now let's try moving again. So apparently I'm still moving the wrong direction. For one of the Z axes, it looks like. Hang on, let me make these so I can actually see them. We're hoping for clockwise, so let's see what we get. Got two that are going clockwise, one that's going counterclockwise, so I'll show you a solution to that. Unplug the power. Take this cord out, flip it around, DuPont connector in this case, connect it back up, and in theory this will fix the problem. I'll plug it back in. I have to disconnect, reconnect. Try this again. There we go. They're all moving clockwise. You may have to adjust them individually depending upon their movements. I'm using different steppers, but that's an issue in itself. So let me check on the chat. Okay, did you see the solution, John? Or does that not look right? Took me a long roundabout way to get there because apparently it's almost 8:30, and after about 7:30 I start to get really wonky when I talk, so that's the solution, I guess, for that issue. Let's see if we can look at the LCD issue for a second. I don't know if you still have it. John, can you hear me, by the way? Want to make sure nothing else broke down on the computer. Actually, let me try turning on the sound to stream and see if I can hear myself. About way to get there because apparently you can hear me, or I can hear me hearing me. Yeah, in Marlin mode, it's going to be different. I don't know what's going to happen in Marlin mode. It's an emulation, but touchscreen is basically what it's designed for. You may have to set the INI files for Marlin to adjust for your configuration, and those are located in a text file when you download it for firmware upgrade. But do you have any other questions of things that are not working that I might be able to work out on the fly? Obviously, at this hour, I don't work them out very well. Okay, does anybody else have any questions? Okay, so if you guys don't know, I have, what is it, a Discord chat where you can ask questions. I'm usually there or somebody else is there to answer questions. When you move the X, both X and Y, I'm sorry, maybe I'm not understanding. Probably not. Let's see. Same. If you move the X and the Y moves the same time. Okay, we can check that real quick. So if you move the Y, the X moves at the same time. Okay, give me a second to try this out. Because we know that stepper's good, so I'm just going to pull off the power real quick here, bring up the desktop, and I'll show you it. So I think the Core XY might be causing issues. So for the X, I'm going to pull these out. This one's fun because it's the opposite direction. I'm going to put that on the setup for the UART. And I'm going to grab two steppers. Let me find them here. One. And then I have to pull another one from the box. Let me find one. Yeah, I know I have another box of them here. Let me see if I can find them. Huh. Where'd the second box go? There it is. There's the other one. So I'm going to go over to the firmware real quick. So VS Code. And I got to get it up so you can see it. Go. Here. A search on the A4988. I'm going to uncomment both the X and the Y. Copy here. Paste. Go over to advanced configurations. Search on 800. I'm actually going to change this to 750. And that should configure it for us. So click the checkbox. While that's going on, I'm going to pop out the drive. Put it in the converter drive for a second for the USB. Plug it in. Minimize that. On Explorer. Right click, send USB drive. Check the USB real quick. There. Pull the USB. Go back to the desktop or workbench. Pop the drive in. Connect the USB. Connect the cable. We're going to go to printer face. Inside printer face, we're going to connect. Check our steppers. Like everybody's okay except for the second Z, but I don't want to investigate that just yet. So let's see what happens with the X stepper first. Well, nothing until I connect one, that is. So hang on a second, let me power down the system so I can connect a stepper. So there's a stepper, and then we need a Z stepper, don't we? Looks like I'm gonna have to grab a stepper out of the other room. Okay, got another stepper. It can take me a second to hook it up because it's slightly different. So I'm gonna try and put some tape on it so you can see what's going on. Okay. Now I'm going to re-energize the system. Get in. Disconnect, reconnect. Try the M122. Okay, that axis has some kind of issue, but we'll look at that in a sec. We'll move 10 on the Y. That moves. Now we'll do the X. That moves. Y. Moving fine. Let's try Z. Z's still working even with the bad response. So we're all good at the moment. Zed might have some kind of issue that I have to look into, being cabling or jumpers. But is that what you were looking for? Yeah, the Core XY is probably the setting. That's why I said to avoid it. Unfortunately, I don't know the configuration of your printer, but you can probably work around that. Okay, well, I'm gonna take a nap now because it's kind of late. Everyone, take care, be safe, and I'll catch up with you all on Monday at about 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So take care.